Yes, yes. Welcome to the ancient world of tabletop games. I am Agamemnon from the historical documentary Time Bandits. This is a report from a fugitive. Cracking a game open for the first time in front of a board game rookie, I quickly punched cardboard tiles out of the surrounding scaffolding. Even seasoned veterans of the board gaming world place this task in the same category as brain surgery. One slip and you'll ruin the whole game, leaving the most essential cardboard counter ruined for the rest of its short life, and the game itself in need of life support. I am no seasoned veteran when it comes to punching out counters, but I've walked through the flames and know the risks. There's an entire subculture within board gaming, and especially inside wargaming, concerning removal of counters from their vaults, ejecting them from the matrix into the real world. But I have no time to noodle around in the lower reaches of hell with tales of wargames from yesteryear and industrial-strength nail clippers. If the counters make it out of the card sheets alive and in one piece, celebrate with jollity and the consumption of a feast. Here's the game that prompted the question leading to this video. I sifted through the game components, punching tiles in the face, and then I straightened the empty cardboard frames, readying them for a return to the box. At that point, the board gaming rookie asked her question, "Do you keep the cardboard frames?" Thinking this over without thinking this over, I realized there are several reasons for keeping the cardboard frames, and I will relate those reasons to you now, for if you are a board gaming rookie, any reasoning behind this cardboard hoarding may not occur to you. Why keep the cardboard frames? First, and most obviously, the unused game is packed tightly into the box. Remove the frames from a box containing a plastic insert and you'll leave space for the plastic insert to rattle around in. This is no good for transport and will leave the more fragile plastic inserts shattered and broken, killed by your negligence. Think of the children, lying huddled in the dark, waiting for that game's safe return. Shame on you. If you're American, it's a crime of neglect in the lower 48 states and Puerto Rico. And that is a board gaming fact. So, for a game with a plastic insert, boost that insert and the game's self-esteem in raising the height of everything by shoving the cardboard frames at the bottom of the box along with any advertising bump. Second, and least obviously, you may fail to recognize that an essential game component is exactly that. If it looks like a punchboard frame, then it is almost certainly a punchboard frame. However, you run the risk of punching a counter half out so that it is left dangling out of sight on the back end of the frame. And if you throw that frame away, there's a chance of discarding a vital game component at the same time. Always check both sides of the frames after punching out counters, especially for a game involving small or otherwise unusual playing pieces. Next, why else would you keep the cardboard frames? If you take a dip into the second-hand market, sell the game on, complete with the empty frames. Occasionally, matching the punched-out counters to the empty frames is the only way to be sure that all the counters are present. You cannot rely on the game manufacturer to state the right numbers when it comes to listing components in the rulebook. That is folly. Yes, the makers get this basic move right more often than not, but rulebooks are not tomes of historical record. Let the framework be your framework. When selling on, try to match the counters to the empty frames. Look for blank spaces. Quiver before the terror that is the missing game piece. Spend 3 lifetimes hunting for missing bits. Then sell the game on, hoping no one will notice any awkward deficiency. Say, for example, that the game is unaccountably a copy of Monopoly. For hex and counter war games in which line of sight is a thing, players use straight edges to trace an attack from their tanks to your tanks across the vast gulf of hexagonal-shaped sand dunes, and the rectangular cardboard frame is just the job for that. Or a piece of string if you've thrown the frames away. Searching for a storage solution for cardboard aliens and spaceships, I discovered that some gamers use the frames as storage organizers. This is more likely in the case of war games that don't see much use. The gamer confirms all counters are present and in military order. With the sound of the bugle dying away, battle done, The gamer returns the reassembled frames to barracks. You get away with that as long as you are dealing with war games. Wear and tear on the counters popping in and out of frames is more of an issue with older games. Let's say classic games that last a month per game turn and only see play once in a bomber's moon. Modern production methods make popping counters out and back in a hell of a lot easier. I have another storage method in mind for these things, what they call poly pockets, and I'm midway through sorting those out. Need to measure up the supplies before I buy more in. Plastic pages for ring binders with several pouches per page, since you asked. These are counters that people keep track of by popping them back into the frames. I think the idea is a little fiddly. Wrestling with Polly Pockets is close to the same level of faffing around on cold days when the wolves howl closer and frost is on the inside of the windows, blotting out all chance of hope. And then there are the collectors. They want to buy the whole game, including the empty frames. Are these people collectors or completionists? If selling a game hinges on keeping the cardboard frames in that box, keep the cardboard frames in that box. Games are meant to be opened and assembled and played. In a few cases, I've left counters in the frames. Rise of Tribes is a good example. For that game, I bought the expansion with its fancy wooden resource playing pieces, and I didn't need to punch out any of the cardboard resource counters. I'd have had to find somewhere to store the bloody things if I'd punched them out. And I don't like punching counters out, fiddly business. Not as bad as putting stickers on game components. That shouldn't even be a thing in this day and age, or indeed in any other age. I'm looking at you, Star Wars Carcassonne. Seriously, what the actual fuck? Meeple-shaped stickers on meeple-shaped meeples. Darth Vader's coming to your base to frighten you with his sorcerer's ways. Fuckers. Yes, I wore these gloves for that one reference. That game's cardboard frames are tucked away under here. Hard to see, the dark side is. Keeping the top layer flush with the box lid, those hidden frames bring order to an otherwise chaotic galaxy. Anyway, cardboard counters, tokens and chits. Nowhere near as footery as stickers, thank fuck. If you risk tearing a counter as it is removed, oh my god, stop. First, as with so many things in life, you should move from the front to the back. In the better arranged sheets, the front of the punchboard is the area with the grooves along those counter lines. There are no cut grooves on the back. Should you face wayward wadding, paper peeling in the most awkward fashion, try to salvage the wreck by using scissors to trim away the excess. Be very, very quiet. I'm twimming counters. Plan ahead. If there isn't storage in the game box, provide your own. Punch the counters out over a surface that's providing great contrast, a light background for games with dark counters. Don't own pets. That way your pets never disappoint you by chewing the counters you've only just punched out. Choking hazard warnings are there for a reason. Don't eat your game components. Make sure your children don't eat the game components either. Don't eat your children. There's another reason to keep the punchboard. It might not be punchboard. Instead, it may be a genuine game component you've mistaken for punchboard in the rush. Throwing a game component away is never a good idea. Designing a game component to accidentally resemble a punchboard frame is an even worse idea. Losing a vital playing piece could lead to a broken game. Designers caught on to this problem, and once in a blue moon you'll see a warning sheet in with a bump telling you not to throw away the cardboard frame it is used in the game. Don't invite those game designers to your house for dinner. Cannibalism is frowned upon. These are a few of the reasons for keeping those cardboard frames. Veterans will have their own explanations handy. I have little to say about games that remain completely unpunched throughout their lives. They are never removed from the cellophane wrappers. The box lids stay firmly shut, and the counters can't quite be called counters as they are still part of the cardboard scaffolding. Buy games. Punch them out. Play those games. Allow the games to gather dust only if you intensely dislike them after trying them out. Even then, find new homes for unused boxes. Let the games begin.